Check, 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 check. Are we on the air? We are on the air. All right. Peace to the family. Let's go. You know how we sound on the audio? Before we begin this thing, let's do a sound check. How we sounding on the audio to the family? Peace to the family out there. Greetings. Happy Monday. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays. You are now rocking with the best.
To this day.
Yes.
To this day.
The Red Pillar in the building.
To this day.
Reporting live and direct. Episode 228.
To
When
this
in
day.
Rome.
To this
Epilogue.
day. To this
Featuring
day.
your good brother,
To this
Red
day.
Pillar. And my special guest
To this
for
day.
tonight.
To this
Today, for
day.
that matter, Blue Pillar 44. Now, some people might notice that we didn't open up with our Facts theme song, nor did we open up with the dramatic intro for the KTL. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 doom. I have a reason for that. We have to do a little bit of research and figure out how we could incorporate these things and not get copyright strikes. Unfortunately, many of our videos have been demonetized after being accepted for AdSense monetization because the intros are coming up as copyrighted material. And they're restricting the monetization of over 1,000 videos. So I have to go through the painstaking journey of cutting out the intros to almost 800 videos. Just imagine how much work I have ahead of myself. So yeah, we are not going to be doing those intros until we figure some things out. We have to get what is known as royalty-free sounds or royalty-free music before we tap in. Let's do the roll call. We got Rome in the building. All right. AKA Cincinnati. Bria. Shout out to y'all. We got Chicago in the building. We got the Bronx in the building. Good afternoon to you as well. You know what I'm talking about? Good afternoon to you as well. Peace, love, and light. We got Las Vegas tapping in. The east side more so. San Fran is up in this thing. You know what I'm talking about? North Carolina is up in this thing. Mexico is here. Boston is here. Hartford is here. Hartford. Where my Kansas City niggas at, man? Talk to me, man. Daytona Beach is in the building. Boston is here. Palm Beach is here. Detroit, the town, Maryland, St. Paul, Minnesota, MacTown, Tennessee, Houston. Shout out to everybody, man. Upstate New York, Greensboro, France up in this thing. We global, baby. Alaska, shooting down UFOs. Toronto, T-Dot, Delaware, Detroit. DC up in this thing. Shout out to my DC killers. Noticeably, nobody from Philadelphia yet. They still in the bed. Brixton up in this thing. Shout out to Brixton. ATL to Albany. Queens is here. Kingston. Wagwan. Stone Mountain in this thing. North Carolina. I see you. We're going to see you soon, North Carolina. I'm going to got a date coming for the Facts 24. I'm going to get a date for y'all. We'll let you know by next show. So with that being said, this is an early show. Why? Because at 6 p.m. tonight, 6 p.m. Me and Blue Pillar are gonna be unveiling an epic. I'm gonna an epic demonstration that if you've been paying attention, if your eyes have not failed you, if your ears are still working, then you would say to yourself, damn, these brothers, man, they be working some type of specific juju, man. Like you should try to figure out what these niggas is working with. Like, this is not Palo Mayombe. This ain't Santeria. You know what I'm talking about? This not your grandmama's voodoo, my nigga. The shit that we are able to conjure, I don't know where this is coming from, but for some reason, these twins are able to name lectures months before, weeks before, about a certain topic, and leading up to the date of these lectures, and it never had failed them, the great divine just starts speaking through signs. God damn it. What is it? What is these niggas working with? This can't be just CMOS. This can't be just CMOS. What are they working with? Because I'll tell you one thing. I ain't see so much activity on some galactic shit where the great divine was just dropping gemstone after gemstone from last Thursday up until today. This weekend was lit. If you knew what you was looking at. If you really on your research shit, if you really in school, and that's not to take anything away from anybody out here on these networks, bumping their gums, talking their shit, doing what they do, but nah, they don't give it up like that. They don't give it up like that. It's a lot of niggas I'm waiting for their receipts. They talk a lot of good shit. But the great divine don't be backing them up like that. You know what I'm talking about? Not immediately. We done had the lightning hit the big Jesus in Brazil. Talk like that. Can't make this shit up, man.
To this day.
It's gotten to the point where I can't even promote my own self because the shit can sound like bias. I'm gonna have to hire somebody to come in here and talk some shit, man. Put on. Talk that shit. You need a tic-tac. You know what I'm talking about? I need management. After this lecture, I need management, man. You know what I'm talking about? I might hop out of this lecture shit and get into sports betting or FanDuel or something because the predictions is too much. But if there was no sign to show you that the Vatican is getting exposed, you better stay on your toes, was on Saturday. Hold on, I ain't even gonna talk my shit, man. I don't want to be stingy, man. Let me open up the floor for my co-defendant. You know what I'm talking about? When we talk about these bodies that we out here catching, let me bring in my co-defendant. You know what I'm talking about? Without any further ado, I present to you our brother, your brother from another mama, Blue Pillar, aka Pope Pablo. Come up in this bitch. Yeah. Show.
Peace to the family, peace, love, and light. Let's start this in peace.
That's right. Started in peace.
Everything that you said is very hard and difficult to get acknowledged in these streets for whatever reason. People will attribute it to harp, and no disrespect to Shango, you know what I'm saying, and none of the entities and the deities, but it bugs me out how these brothers and these sisters, social media, who've been seeing this campaign, and questioning it, like, damn, y'all focusing on that over there, y'all y'all
Right.
could be over here talking about all of the niggeramorous stuff that's taking place in the community.
How y'all feel about that slap?
And I'm like, yo, I'm focused. I'm over here, concentrating on what we've been doing, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with who we've been dealing with. You feel me? For almost 8 years. And it bugs me out that when these signs come, and I'm up here, I'm like you said, I bump my gums. I make bold claims in public and I stand on it. And if for anything else, for the people out there who might even sit with your downloads and your dream states and all of these things that you receive, and you might not even feel worthy, like, damn, am I gonna look crazy if I stand up in public and stand on my truths? Take it from me, right? They said win in room. No, we could do a win in room.
Winning room. That part.
Yeah, get in the room, get in the building. But
Yeah,
yeah,
win
take
in that
it from me.
room.
I sacrifice my ego a lot on purpose just to show, what I'm saying, that you really have to have a knowledge of your own self to stand on yourself, especially in the public. People would be like, oh, y'all got a lot to lose. You feel me? And I'm also focused on the fact that we have a lot to gain, and not through the eyes of other people. These things that you believe to be self-evident and truthful, they gotta resonate in your body first. Like, they be like, um, peace to yourself, and they be spelling it with cells.
Yeah, yeah. Peace to yourself. Self.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta resonate. This is a micro,
True work.
macro, inner, outer thing. Before you position yourself, right? Like, even before you pretty yourself to put yourself in front of the public, you got to sit with yourself and know that what you
Know
standing on,
what it is.
right?
Right.
What you standing on is truth. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Right.
be able to go to sleep with yourself comfortably and know that the way that you have utilized your time, which is your life force, which is your energy, you know what I'm saying, was true to who and what you are. And we all have different callings based on who you are. This is not everybody's calling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, I'm always thankful and humbled by people who find the time, who find the wherewithal to say, I'm gonna tap into what the brothers is talking about. You feel me? Maybe some of it might resonate with what I got going on. And for nothing else, I'm like, they like, what do you want out of it? My thing is, I feel that I found a way to make an observation of reality that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Everything else looks crazy. I've tried other people's methodology. I've listened to what other people are saying, and there's too many blanks. You feel me?
Right.
These observations don't leave no wiggle room. And it's receipts after receipts after receipts after receipts.
To this day.
And
To this day.
it's not post. It ain't after the fact.
Yeah. How
It's
you
the
gonna do it
groundwork.
post?
Yeah, it
You
ain't. It
can't.
ain't.
You
It's
can't
not,
do
it's not
work
post
post.
game. It ain't.
You
It
can't
ain't.
do post game revelations.
It's
You
not
can't do
post
post
game.
game predictions. How does that work?
Yeah, this ain't
They
that.
they trying to move the goalposts on us.
Yeah, this ain't that. This
Niggas
ain't moving the
doing
post.
post
This is saying
game predictions.
I'm giving pre-game predictions. I'm giving you up to the minute predictions. You know what I'm saying? And I'm explaining it as best as I can. Now, the way that my human design is set up, my strategy and authority, I'm not even supposed to be here explaining in a rational sense. You feel me? Things that cannot be explained because
Right.
they come to me as downloads, inclinations, and sometimes I'm catching it in the moment of when this stuff is taking place, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Let me interpret it. Let me bring it back and share it with the family. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Right.
and it's weird when they be like, "Who's gonna win?" I'm like, "Well, the 44s are gonna win." And then they like, "Which one?" I'm like, "Shit, the 44s." I guarantee that. I bring that to the table. I'm like, "Well, the 44 is gonna win." How they show up specifically, you know, that's left up to interpretation. I'm like, if I explain to you who the players are, who would you want to win? Would you want Rome to win, or would you want the indigenous people to win? Would you want the U.S. Corp to win? And some people would, because their safety and their security, right, and their serenity is tied in to Rome still being in place. Because the majority of people have not fixated their mind around what can they possibly do if they did not have an overseer, you feel me, in control of everything that they did.
Mm.
And that's not even a pretty observation at the end of the day, because so many people are dependent on Rome. So many people are high off of the titty of Caesar, or the titty of Remus and Romulus.
Remus
Today
and Romulus.
is Lupercalia. Let me see if I can share my screen. Do I have any of these? Damn, I'm on my, what you call it?
Shout out to Dennis for the super chat.
Yeah.
And
Shout
shout
out
out to
to the good brother.
B41 for the super chat. It feels good to give out shout outs in real time for real time support, real time love. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what that support is. This is what love looks like. Let's talk about it. You have
So
this
yeah,
conversation about love not being tangible. This is what love looks like in my world. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, it's
This is how
it's
love is interpreted on the internet. Because all that other shit, no disrespect to it, it's not love. I'm very suspicious of anything else but this. This is love. Support is love. Everything else is hogwash.
yeah.
Respectfully.
I mean, again, it's appreciation, because I feel that
Appreciation
what
is
we
love.
offer, what we offer is the highest form of appreciation. If I'm stopping what I'm doing, out of my timeline, out of my life, to say, let me formulate an explanation and an understanding that the family can use as a navigation, not only to see things for what they are, so they themselves can make predictions, but yeah, even with this, you can make you a nice piece of change. Because a lot of people, I seen the videos going around where dudes was destroying their TVs and all of that yesterday, based on the game. Nah, the emotions was high, bro.
Was it they?
And it was a good
Aren't
game.
they always?
They are always.
Is that not how the games are set up? To build up the emotional
Oh, yeah. Whatever needed to be conjured,
conjured.
they definitely they shit off yesterday. Because the emotions was there,
Dub
right?
C, love. I'm talking about.
So
Um, I want to give a shout out to my sons, both of them, for predicting the winner and not having to sit down with Blue Pill. You know, my 2-year-old, we were in Publix about 2 weeks ago. He's a balloon fan, an avid balloon fan. There was a whole
yeah,
group of balloons,
yes, he
and
was.
he
Yeah,
went into that group of balloons and he pulled the balloon out.
Facts. I seen it. I was at the crib. We was like, oh, he a whole
Came
Chiefs
to the
fan.
crib and I showed you what it was, right? And I wasn't even in the store. His mother brought him back home and showed me the balloon that he picked.
That's a fact.
And when I saw it,
Yeah.
I said, this is what we going with. Because the young God ain't never been wrong yet. And he came from a place more recently than any of us. He was closest to the divine just a few weeks ago. And then when I got on the phone with my son, Amir, who's 15, and I said, who gonna win? He said the Chiefs. And I cashed apped them a nice amount of money. I said, you got some money in your account? He's like, not that much. I said, how many people or how much have you put on your bets? Because if you say that they gonna win, I need to know how much skin you got in the game. So I sent him some money and I said, go to FanDuel and do what you do best. And he did that. You feel me? And
get it in.
The rest is history.
Yeah, he get it in. The youngin get it in.
So a lot of people might not be into sports betting, but I'm of the understanding that one good game could take you not out the hood, but it could change things. You know, and that's special. I mean, especially with shit like FanDuel, $5 could get you 3 bands. So, shout out to all of my sports bettors out there, cooking up, bending the spoon, doing what you do, taking information or believing in your gut and standing on that.
Yeah. And yeah, so with that being said, you know what I'm saying? Again, I feel that I know, I don't feel, because I know because it's tangible and we got receipts that we've delivered on everything promised. And what was the main promise? I was like, look, you're going to get clear signs and symbols leading up to the day of. I've been saying that for the last 2 months, bro.
Right.
Specifically for the last 2 weeks, and specifically, I made a bold proclamation on Friday when I put a post up dealing with the Latter-day Saints when they said that they only want to see melanated Jesus from this point, right? The Mormons, bro. The Mormons.
Those are the same people who converted NBA Youngboy, right?
Yes.
Arguably one of the most messianic figures in hip hop right now. In terms of, if you understand what a Messiah figure is, messianic energy is, Christ-like messianic energy, numbers-wise and influence-wise and impact-wise, that young boy, Cantrell, NBA young boy out of Baton Rouge. Would he not?
Yes.
Would he not be the #1 prize?
Arguably, yes. He would be the person with the strongest messianic force amongst the youngins, right? When we're speaking about where our children are being led to, because please be clear, the children are followers, more so than their parents have ever been.
Facts.
Right?
Unapologetically.
Apologetically, to the point where if homie was like, I'm doing a concert in hell, they would follow him there.
Right.
And I think twice, right? You think Beyonce's tickets was off the charts. You feel me? Yeah. If they had to pay $6,666 for a ticket in hell to go and see Lantrell, they going.
Facts.
So now the Mormons are adjusting their policies and they're adjusting, right, the face of their organization because they know what they're about to receive once they put this person in position. You feel me?
Influx.
In an organization that is the second largest and richest organization Christian organization on the planet. They are second only to the Catholic Church, bro.
What?
Yeah, so let me do this because I'm on my iPad and I don't see any way that I can share my screen or anything.
Okay.
I don't
All
know
right.
if I have the same permissions over here. So I'm gonna
Okay.
log in through my laptop so I can just
No
get
problem.
into
I'll talk to
because I'm
them
gonna
while you
get
get ready.
to the people, yeah, some of what they want. I know they want some of this breakdown dealing with this the Super Bowl. And this is exciting. So we're gonna get into this real quick. Give y'all a primer. So give me a
Yes.
second.
Yeah, I gotta get a primer. You think you'll be able to deliver a primer in about 30 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Because I gotta get back to the lab to tighten up the rest of this presentation before 6 o'clock. But we're gonna give y'all a good hour. We 25 minutes in, you know what I'm talking about? And then we back into our business. If y'all are going to join us and stand on business with us, then we'll see you at 6 p.m. If not, no foul feelings. We'll see you when we see you. For anybody that's asking, will this lecture be recorded? Of course it will. It definitely will. It will be available for anybody who doesn't have the time to watch it at the moment. You might be at work at 3 p.m. on the West Coast while we're doing what we do. But yeah, it'll be recorded and it'll be available for replay. Yeah. So I'm sure that Blue is gonna touch on this. But yes, rising power to a legend. Um, man,
Yeah.
we'll
Can
talk
you hear
about
me?
it. Yes, I do.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna speak on this, right? And it ties directly into the game
It does.
because the whole parable of the eagle and the dove kicks in. You feel me?
Yes.
And the eagle and the dove is what? The dove represents peace, and the eagle is a hawk, right? Or a war
War.
hawk, or eagle. The eagle is the motif of Rome, and it also is the symbol of the US, specifically the Air Force. Let's get into this real quick,
Right.
right?
Eagle
Let's
with
get it.
the arrows in his talons. Shout out to
Yeah,
A.A. Rashid, the Kabbalah God, breaking down that tree of life. Yeah.
yes, sir. Just give me 1 second.
I got you, bro.
So yeah, you know, just think about the offerings that that brother and his group gave us in terms of the diversity, in terms of the thing that hip hop is missing in its 50th anniversary. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We talk about De La Soul
We're
of
talking
the
about De
soul.
La Soul. We're talking about De La Soul for the family out there. You feel me? Plug 2, aka Trugoy.
Trugoy, the dove.
Um, for the also called the Dove. For
Trugoy,
everybody that's out there, especially my youngins who may not be familiar with De La Soul and their catalog and their impact on hip hop, I would just say this: the progenitors of weird, the forefathers of different,
of different. Yes.
and the foundation
The deacons of
of
diversity.
the backpack movement and Daisy movement,
Yes.
right? Yes, 3 is a magic number. Yes, it is. We talking to you. The brothers just got control of their masters. I believe that they launched a huge lawsuit against one of the labels or one of the digital streaming platforms. I got to do a little more research. Yes, Strong Island, right?
Tommy
When
Boy,
we talk about
right? They pressed up on Tommy
Shinnecock,
Boy
Tommy
initially
Boy
for their masters, and they just got into the streaming.
just got into the streaming world. Shout out to
Yes.
Spotify, raping you records, right?
Mhm.
And when I say that these brothers were part of our childhood, I really want to be able to paint the picture about how impactful and how important De La Soul was to young melanated men such as myself and Blue Pill, who coming up in a hyper masculine culture like hip hop, right? During the time of 1990s where New York City was the murder capital, right? And they were kind of steering our minds in one direction, especially with the influence of like West Coast hip hop, NWA was budding and shit like that. Streets were gripping people. These brothers came along and gave us the permission to be different. These people came along and gave us the permission to be wise and intelligent. Prince Paul.
Prince Paul
and De La, these young brothers coming out of Strong Island, Chuck D, leaders of the new school, Rakim, right? Because when we talk about Strong Island, we talk about Kings County. When we talk about Kings County, we talk about 3 boroughs.
Explain it. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. We're talking about 3 boroughs that were once connected when New York City was called New Amsterdam, right? Kings County was Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island all together, right? So Kings County is a play off of the fact that real kings come from Long Island. There is a bloodline of pharaohs that hail from the lands of Long Island, places like the Hamptons, right? Sacred land. There's a book called Pyramids on Montauk by Peter Moon, and we spoke on this about a month ago with Ross Ben. Salute to the legend.
And that ties directly, into this lecture because we're dealing with the this whole aspect of the 40-year, period between 1943, 1983. So 1943 is the Philadelphia experiment, right, on 39-degree parallel line. 1983 is the Montauk project on the 41-degree parallel line. Okay. And then 2023 is that 40-year period, that 40-year box that's separated by the 39 and the 41. Hence the fact that both games or both teams yesterday being played come from the 39 parallel line. Philadelphia and Kansas City. The 41-degree parallel line would be the Vatican. You know what I'm saying? Of which, infamously, Francis released the dove out the window and the dove got attacked, right, by the crow.
Right.
I think that was in 2015 or 2016. But these are the motifs. The dove represents peace. Right. You feel me? Yes, Stranger Things covers that, right? The Montauk Project. So 5 civilized tribes is the bloodline that comes from the Long Island area. The father of them was called the Montauk. Shinnecock, the tribe that we are family and indigenous to. Also, Flavor Flav on his Vlad TV interview said that he's Shinnecock. He said LL was Shinnecock.
Right, I can see it.
So that whole trajectory that runs from Long Island, Queens, and Kings County, which is AKA Brooklyn, all of that is the same landmass. There are illusionary demarcation lines that separate those landmass, meaning that
they created what is known as the boroughs.
Yeah, there's no real line that separates anything on that land. Right. You can drive a car straight through it. It ain't no roads, it ain't no rivers, it ain't no water, it ain't no bridges. Nothing separates that landmass but a false demarcation line of somebody putting up a sign that says you just went Yeah, from
Right.
Brooklyn into Queens. There's no real separation.
No
It's
real
all on
separation.
the ley line.
It's
You feel
all
me?
Kings County. So with knowing that, in hindsight, you add up all of the rappers. You don't
Yeah.
put them against each other. You don't say who's the best out of Queens, who's the best out of Brooklyn. No, you add up Long Island MCs, you add up Brooklyn MCs, and you add up Queens MCs. What about the Kings County collective? They're not separate. They're all part of one expression. So what I remember the MCs coming out of Kings County, but the Strong Island side is that these brothers brought a level of intellect, culture, and a way of expressing themselves that tended to be a little bit more expressive than some of their brothers from other brothers who express themselves differently. Right. So once
Well,
again, Rakim,
from Wine Dance.
Wine Dance, right? We got the Amityville. Amityville was Leaders of the New School, I believe. Right?
I can't co-sign that, but possibly, yes. Roosevelt.
Possibly, right? Then we got Chuck, Flavor.
Roosevelt, I believe.
Yeah, that whole, and for the family who may not be familiar with how Long Island is set up, a lot of houses, very suburbia. You feel me? Not a lot of, I mean, there are hoods out there, it's Wine Dance and stuff. They get busy, but it was considered to be the outskirts of Queens. You know, when people really got to that bag and whatnot, they will go out into Long Island, and that's where you had a lot of family homes. So both parents were in the household more so than they may have been in Brooklyn households and things of that nature. EPMD, my nigga.
Brentwood, right?
Brentwood. We just talking about a whole nother kind of sound. Okay. Leaders of the New School, Uniondale, Keith Murray, MF
Keith
Doom,
Murray.
Prodigy.
Right. Yeah,
right?
all of that.
Their pen.
So when you talk about the geographical differences of being stacked on top of one another in a tenement, right? Which is what the boroughs, the cities have to offer. But when you get to Queens, Queens is residential. Yeah, Rock Marcy, right? And it's more spread out. Granddaddy IU, rest in peace to the brother.
Rise and
Right?
Power, the king.
Rise and Power. When you change the geography and it's homes, it's more spread out. I remember when I went through Queens up into Long Island. I think it was called Five Towns. I thought I was down south. There was chickens in the yard, right? It was dirt field yards. It really looked like down south. And I was like, yo, this is different. You know what I'm saying? Five Towns, Long Island looked like I was in the south. You feel me? And all through Long Island, you know what I mean? It's residential. It's a lot more space, but that's all indigenous land. That's all resonating with your ancestors. And when the families was able to go out there as families and tap into those power grids that were not disturbed by urban geomancy, they were able to really get into a different part of their minds. You know what I'm saying? And we could see it in their rhyme pattern. Yes, Method Man, the way that he rhymes cannot be explained by uh what project they come from? Stapleton, Bismarck, right?
Nah, that's not the flow.
That's not the flow. That's not
I
the
said
flow
Lord
of
Jamal.
regimented tenement such as Stapleton. You have to have an open mind to think and flow the way the Method Man does. You feel me? Yeah. LL Cool J, his bloodline runs deep through Long Island and it runs up to Shinnecock. Shinnecock was a son of Montauk. Wine Dance was a son of Montauk. Montauk was the father of the 5 civilized tribes that run through that part of what we call Strong Island or Kings County. Freddie
Right.
Fox as well. Damn. Yeah, it's just it's
Yeah.
legendary, y'all. You feel me? And it's a beautiful way, once again, to observe the way that we're connected and not separated as a people. You know what I mean? Far Rock would definitely be different. It's right next to the water, and especially, the family that finds itself next to water. Um, Shout out to my homegirl, Shanae. She's from Shinnecock. She's gonna be heading the first indigenous cannabis dispensary out there. And the way that she speaks about ceremony and going to the river and doing the things her ancestors did, keeping that sacred ceremonious situation alive. There's so much that we can extract from really tapping into these untapped into realms such as Long Island and seeing it for what it is. You know, this was unfortunately the way that we've been fed the history. Levittown, when white flight happened in the cities, in the urban centers of New York, because melanated people started moving in allegedly, right? Even though we was there initially in Seneca Village, we was there initially in Wall Street, we was there initially in Brooklyn. You feel me? And then when they drove people out and started driving them into different parts of the city, then white flight is something that happened. And then the first place that it took place at was a place called Levittown, Long Island. You feel me? And this is where they say started suburbia. This is when white folks started leaving the city and going into those regions. So they get accredited a lot with being the trailblazers of going into Long Island. But our family, our people, indigenous tribes were always there. Shinnecock and Montauk. Well, Montauk got interfered with through the census, right? They duped them on paper when the census bureaus came around and they classified them as black and negroes, and that's how they was able to say that they disappeared and they took their land after that. But they Shinnecock have never been conquered. You know what I'm saying? The Shinnecock have never been conquered or disturbed as a people per se. Their history is still intact. So you have indigenous tribes that have always been there, have not been run out, right? Their coffee did not get mixed with no cream.
Facts.
So when we used to go to Shinnecock powwow as children, we would be baffled because the indigenous people that we saw did not look like Tonto.
We was looking
They
for
looked
Tonto.
like, yeah, we was looking for
Right.
Tonto.
We was looking for Tonto in them. We was
And
like, why so many niggas
Shinnecock,
here?
yeah. So Shinnecock Chief Cuffy is exactly where ODB ties his lineage from. This is why he said, "Yo, George Bush and them is looking for me because I'm out here, speaking too much on my bloodline." And
Right.
Ironically, hip hop would grow a fascination with the Hamptons. This is where the Hamptons is at, y'all. If you're listening, from afar, you're not familiar with New York geography. The wealthiest part of New York State is literally an indigenous Shinnecock land, and they call it the Hamptons, East Hampton in particular.
Yes.
And you know,
Paradise.
the rappers, yeah, they, what I'm saying, they would be doing the most. You feel me? To get an invite to them parties out there, and Lord knows, they come out of there bunny hopping. That's a whole nother story.
Whole another story.
That's a whole nother
Whole
story.
another day.
So,
Nah, so that's a whole nother story.
yeah. So, I'm attempting to transfer this enormous file. This file is 2 gigs. And I'm trying to airdrop it from my laptop. I mean, from my iPad to my laptop, but
Okay.
it's still saying waiting. So that's the process. What's going on with that? Let me see if
Yeah.
I could pull up, because I know I got a portion of it on this. Probably ain't got all of the specifics, but we could still get into some of this.
Yeah, now the bunny hop is timeless. That's when they go back and look at the history of hip hop, the bunny hop will have to be in there.
There was bunny hopping yesterday. Let's get into this. Hold on. Let's get into there was bunny hopping. That was a straight Ishtar ritual. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the young god.
Right.
All right. Are we on? See this?
Yeah, we good. We on. Shout out to all the mothers out there. Shout out to all of the fertility goddesses in the building. Yeah.
Fertility goddess. You know what
life.
I'm gonna take your light. I ain't kidding.
Yeah, shout out to New Life.
I'm gonna take your light. I'm gonna take your light. But yeah. So Philly, and shout out to the Philly fans. Shout out to the city of Philadelphia.
Philly.
You know what I'm saying? You guys play an integral part in the history of these colonies and going forward. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely going to be a lot that needs to be discussed. The kicker for me, decoding wise, is that the very first game that Kansas City played, they played the Cardinals in Arizona and they beat them by 44 points. So that was kind of like, shout out to my brother Carlo. We've been looking at Kansas City Chiefs from the beginning. Kansas City has always been a nominal 44 resonator in all of the Super Bowls. They've always resonated with the number 44. And Patrick Mahomes is a Colin Kaepernick prototype because he is a Christ figure, right? Colin, and this is a 10-year period for when the last Super Bowl was played, right? Because the last Super Bowl was played 10 years ago in New Orleans, the home of the New Orleans Saints. And 10 years later, it's played in Arizona, in the home of the Arizona Cardinals. So a Saints and the Cardinals are both motifs to deal with the Catholic Church. You feel me? And that's not, again, that's not a stretch of an imagination. I don't care if they show you a bird. Okay. We know what the Cardinals are. And we know what the Saints are, my niggas. Let's stop it. Right? We also know that Kaepernick in the game of 2013 when he was going up against the Baltimore Ravens, the showdown was between him and Ray Lewis, number 7 and number 52. Both of them claimed to be men of God. That was the showdown. It wasn't even the game. They were trying to prove which one of them was more Christian.
Right.
And they were saying, Kaepernick, you're not Christian because you got tats and you suspect. And then they was like, oh, Ray Lewis, you can't be Christian because you got 2 bodies.
You shed blood.
Yeah, you shed blood. You feel me? So it was that whole thing where they was playing, once again, these contests of morality out in public that have nothing to do with the game per se. Another kicker and clear indicator of which we had already walked through was this whole aspect of dealing with Francis, who got crowned, right, by the Chiefs with a crown full of eagle feathers on the day out of time, which was July 25th of 2022 up in Canada. Right? Because I said what I said, bar none, the way that we're going to look at it as we always do, not just because we said that we're doing a lecture call when in Rome and everything does have to deal with Rome, even the Super Bowl. I was like, look, it's what governs the Super Bowl. That they put religion aside on the Sunday to make way for the goddamn NFL. You think that there's no religious overtones or undertones?
Right.
You seen 2 Jesus commercials yesterday. You never seen that on TV before. And then it's interspersed with what people call quote unquote rituals. Right. So there has to be a balance, but both of them is ritualistic at the end of the day. Right. So there go the big chiefs. You know what I'm saying? But once again, like we said, chiefs and feathers are something that's very indicative of who and what we are diasporically. right? You're going to find this in all four corners of the planet dealing with indigenous people. In particular, okay, this is the period of which we are dealing with now of the carnival in Brazil.
Yes.
Right? As well as Mardi Gras. Both of them are going on and they're all connected to Lent. Feel me? That all of these are centered around Lent. Even though they are indigenous ceremonies, they are all interspersed and centered around Lent, which this year kicks off on February 22nd. So Lent is a 40-day period. Some would say 44 days, but the 40-day period leading up to quote unquote Easter or Ishtar, right? Hence the fact that you had to have your Ishtar ritual with Rihanna yesterday, again with the bunny hops.
Bang, bang, bang.
Right?
She didn't leave nothing to imagination with all that red on.
Nothing.
She didn't leave a thing.
Right?
She didn't give you
What are we
niggas
talking
no skin.
about here?
She didn't
What
give
are we
you
talking about here?
for all of the goddesses. They was looking for some nipple. They wanted to see some Janet Jackson, memorabilia. She didn't even give you no flesh.
Look, Mardi Gras,
Take
Fat
the red.
Tuesday refers to events of the carnival celebration beginning on or after the Feast of Epiphany and culminating on the day before Lent. The carnival celebrations, which in many cultures traditionally precede Lent, are seen as a last opportunity for excess before Lent begins. Some of the most famous are the Carnival of Barranquilla, the Carnival of Santa Cruz de Tenerife, the Carnival of Venice, Kelowna Carnival, the New Orleans Mardi Gras, the Rio de Janeiro Carnival, and the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, right? So this is all interconnected and interlocked. You can wiggle all you want, right? You're not getting out of this box.
You're not.
So for me to say there's religious, spiritual, Roman implications of the way that these games go down, let alone that you're sitting in the Coliseum, right? There's an undergirding, underlying principle always at play. That if you pull the goddamn sheets, back, you it's right there. Right? Shout out to the big chief Hatchet. You feel me? So these are the brothers that give us the opportunity to see ourselves as the big chiefs and the feathers. So you don't always have an image of Tonto in your mind. No disrespect.
Right.
No disrespect, but we're going to also hoist and speak about the indigenous natures of these lands because the ball is literally down in your court. What you going to do with it? You feel me?
Right.
Kansas City, Missouri, steeped in indigenous history, just not the name of a team, you feel me? But a strong resonance. Very historical. This is literally the heartland of America. So now we're talking about the heart and the soul of a country. They actually got a W, right? Against the colonial, commercialized, Masonic powers that have been dominated it. Right? The Eagles are scrambling as they were literally in the sky before the game yesterday. All right?
Down UFOs.
As you can see, the coordinates, right? 39 degrees. Okay? 39-degree coordinates, the longitudinal lines, right? We can see them at 39 degrees. All of it is up there. You can see it. Kansas City, Missouri, X, Y, and Z. All right. We also can identify the chief eagle feather, right? Comes from Kansas, Missouri, the Cheyenne Indian tribes. You feel me? And then we could go to Philadelphia and we could also see 39 degrees, right? So they was twinning because one of them is a scorpionic city founded on October 25th, and the other was a Gemini city founded on June 6th. But we see the Gemini aspects. We've seen the Gemini aspects playing out in the game with the brothers. I keep telling you, this is about the brothers. I keep telling you, nobody wins when the family feuds. They had the mama there saying I had to wear a jacket with both teams on it because no matter who wins, my sons are playing in this game, right?
Right.
All of the themes were there. So, like I said, man, if I'm freestyling, I need to be on Smack or something like that. Just
Whew.
give me a contract.
Light work.
Feel me? Heart of the nation, right? And what is a heart pump?
Blood.
What colors did you see yesterday?
Red.
Okay. And once again, we went through the history of Kansas City, Missouri, as it has been the interloping history of it taken over by the quote unquote Roman Catholics. Because, yes, there's an indigenous historical history of it, but the overlay, right, of what you see right now is something that has been captured by the Roman Catholics. Catholicism is one of Kansas City's most prominent religions. All right. The first area church, a Catholic church, and early settlements of present day Kansas City go hand in hand. So the person that even controls the city, was a person that comes out of this demonstration. He's a fur trader, right? And he built the first church there. So they've captured this place. This is under the dominion of the quote unquote Catholic Church.
Yeah.
The heart of the nation, right, is controlled by Catholicism.
Facts.
Whereas, the first quote unquote capital of the nation, which is Philadelphia, is controlled Masonically. Right?
Did you see there was a cut scene where they were going to all different countries, watching them, showing them watching the Super Bowl, and they went to Germany and they was doing the chop for Kansas City?
Yes.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yes, I seen that.
I believe there's a high German population in Kansas, correct?
There's a high German population in Philly.
Ugh.
In Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is Germantown, bro.
Right.
But the largest population of Europeans in this country are German descent.
Right.
Right. So when you talk about quote unquote white people in the US, yes, they are German. For the most part. Again, we're making the clear connections between this whole aspect of Tyree, right, being a conversational point, right? Tyree being tied into Hiram Abiff, who is the master builder, who is the keeper of the secrets, who was killed by the 3 ruffians. Hence the fact that the brother Tyree Nichols was killed by 5 participants, 3 of which belong to a fraternal organization, the same fraternal organization that the brother what was the quarterback of Philly? Hurts. Jalen Hurts. Right? Who himself, they say, he's a staunch Christian, but you belong to you're an oath taker as well, to a fraternal order.
Right. Serve 2 masters.
Yeah, I don't know how that shit works, but so this whole aspect of this Masonic overlay was fully in play as it is at all times. You feel me? We could get into this whole aspect of the King Tyree and what it represents, because Tyree is also a interloping for quote unquote Shaitan in the Bible. When they speak about King Tyree and Ezekiel, they're speaking about Satan. Right? But even here, when we get into Satan's backstory, we understand that Satan don't have no power. Everything he has to run through the circuit board of God. God co-signs and signs off on everything. Satan don't create thoughts, make shit happen. He's a beguiler, right? He's a finesser. He points you in the wrong direction and you go that way. But he can't force your hand to nothing.
Right. He just come and clean you up.
Giving him more power, than he can possibly have. Right? So this whole story of Tyree in the Bible, there's 2 different Tyrees. There's a King Tyree and there's a location called Tyree, right? Of which Hiram comes from. But the King Tyree in the Bible in Ezekiel is a euphemism for Shaitan in Ezekiel 28. Okay. The prideful ones who called themselves gods but wasn't, who died like mortal men in front of the world to see. Okay. I'll leave that alone.
Satan is motivated by pride.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. So God is in charge of Satan in the past, present, and future. So anything that people attribute that's happening that they always want to blame the scapegoat literally on, no, that's God. He know what's going on. He know where Shaitan is at. He got the GPS on them, right? Just like the US know where China's at.
The whole time.
Oh man. Anyway.
You ready? Let's go. 2023 Grammys was one hell of a show. What was supposed to be a straight jam and set changed into a satanic celebration. Done blatant. It's all happening. Done slowly. Look at Sam Smith. Of unholy.
Can't play that on the show. Say that for the lecture. It's copyright.
But my dude ain't signed yet. You sure?
It don't matter. Nah. They strict on that shit, bro.
Word? All right, my bad. My bad. You know what I'm saying? But look, this is not even about Satan shaming, because everything in life is participatory and you're not being forced to do anything, even if you are allegedly being duped into it. So I ain't gonna get into all of that because some people have their own preferences. And we're gonna have to talk about preferences in order to have this conversation. And I take no opinion. I'm neutral at this particular point. I just want to disseminate the information. You make your own decisions.
Facts.
Right. But I am gonna, pull the sheets back to explaining you what's going on. And it's, and don't say, oh, this should require, it requires a lot of imagination for you to participate in this reality anyway. You think that there's people out there that are splitting seeds with rods and, riding horses to heaven and from, come on, bro. Don't get all puritanical on me now. But yeah, the churches in Kansas, the Catholic churches are replete in child abuse. They're just atrocious out there. The cover up and the things that they've been doing in the heart of the nation. You know what I'm saying? But it's no better than what's taking place in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia. We're going to get into Sandusky as well. You know what I'm saying? He was not a member of the Catholic Church per se, but they also were co-signing him. He just put an appeal in on, this is from February 9th. This is the other day, bro. Like I said, all of this stuff.
Put an appeal in?
Yeah. Look, this is February 9th. What's the day? The 13th? This is on the 9th, bro. 2023. Former Penn State assistant football judge Jerry Sandusky asks his judge for new trial. This is the other day. And the nobody in the press would pick it up. There was a Catholic magazine that ran it because the dude wrote an article where he went through a review of the whole case and he tore it up. And he wanted to publicize the article, and the only persons that would carry it was a Catholic magazine who were friends with Sandusky, and then they get in backlash and they had to pull it. All of this is happening right in real time right now.
Wow.
And it's like, we got to back up from it because of our historical record of abuse of minors and children. We don't want to look complicit, but we agree with the article says that there's questionable things in his trial and he should get a retrial. I think they hit him with 70 years or some crazy stuff like that.
Right.
Look, they said former Penn State assistant football coach Jerry Sandusky asked a judge Wednesday for a new trial in a nearly 600-page document that argued his conviction for sexually abusing children was the worst thing that happened in the United States since the Salem witch trials. Okay. Oof. Right. And then we know this dude from Stratton, Pennsylvania, you know what I'm saying? The commander in chief, right? Joe Biden. Okay. He's a Catholic as well. And we know that he came up through these institutions. And we know with his scorpionic third decadent November 20th freakish nature, you know, Lord knows what might have happened to him in them schools as well. Because he's just out here wow. He's just wilding. You feel me? So is China in the Bible Magog? And are they just once again playing out this political theater to reenact revelations and give it a physical overlay when all of it is allegorical and not literal, right? But this is the game that the quote unquote Zionists play with their Vatican overlords, or the, you know what I'm saying? Because who you think? You think the Catholic Church works for the Zionists, or you think the Zionists work for the Catholic Church?
Right.
And then they play with the evangelicals, right? To bring this level of this a physical enactment of revelations and the apocalypse into structure so they can gain some level of validity for the existence of Israel as a state. So we go to Vatican City, right? We can also see the Vatican City's at a 41-degree parallel, but Cincinnati right there, that's 39 degrees. The city of Seven Hills, which is another way of saying the Vatican. Vatican or Rome is the city of Seven Hills. You know what I'm saying? Little Rome in the US is considered Cincinnati, the city of Seven Hills, also on the 39 parallel line. So again, this game and these teams and this celebration and the energy, all of it runs through the same stuff. You feel me? Yeah, here we go. You saying I can't play none of these videos, even if it don't have music in it?
Yeah, nah. That's for the lecture. Yeah, just let's play that for the lecture tonight.
Yeah. So the other slides that I had set up that deal specifically with the Super Bowl breakdown, I don't have them in front of me on this version of my quote unquote slides. They are on my 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 iPad. So as best as I can, like I said, I'll walk you through it and explain it. This connection of Mahonis, right, who experienced a sprained ankle, a foot injury. Okay. He had to mimic what Kaepernick experienced in the 2013 Super Bowl, which was a dynamic fourth quarter. Now, Kaepernick didn't pull it off. You know what I'm saying? He fell short of the glory or what have you. But there was almost like a identical overlay of how these individuals, kind of like rose to the occasion. And, these it was probably one of the illest Super Bowl endings. I mean, it wasn't anticlimactic. You feel me? It had people on the edge of their seats. And Lord forbid if you had some money on the line. I know you got an ulcer in the morning. I'm sorry. But yeah, this whole aspect of him having a foot injury or a sprained ankle, right? But still being able to upset the Eagles, who never were able to necessarily go into their air game, right? There was that connection of what was observed earlier with the Eagles and these literal egos in terms of the fighter jets, being scrambled, and US having a suspect uh
Invasion.
air game, right?
Right.
Them not being able to protect their airspace. The only thing that makes the US a militaristic power that is the envy of anyone or anything on the planet is their ability to fight in the air, not by sea, not by land, but by air. Hence the fact that the motif of this country is the eagle, right? Because of their proficiency with their air force. If you're showing identifiable gaps in their air defense, in the eagle defense, you feel me? Then it's a wrap because they have nothing else to offer in terms of an engagement, right? And theoretically, what's being told to people is that the quote unquote wars of the future are going to be fought from space via satellites. Once again, one would have to ask, what level of satellite security can you offer if you cannot detect weather balloons coming into your airspace, right? From Alaska, if you got beef with a country that you are already supposed to be, you know, in the strategizing war rooms to go to war with because of Taiwan, that means that you have all sorts of naval vessels there, but your satellites have to watch any possible move that they can make so you can scramble your jets off of your naval carriers and do what you have to do because it's going to come down to whoever strikes who first. So how the hell can you not see, right? Them sending something from the eastern hemisphere of the planet to make its way into Alaska. And then you should be on heights because of the beef that you got with Russia, and you send in tanks over there. You would think that they might make a move. So you're going to guard Siberia, right? And the Bering Straits and all of these other places where they could potentially make a move. So none of this adds up, y'all. None of it adds up. And I'm just very suspect with people who are emotionally engaged in things that are gonna have no return. You feel me? On your personal energy and your focus and your fears, on none of them things. You're gonna have to find you something else to get into because these people is about to put a game and a theater together that is gonna baffle the imagination because none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. You feel me? None of it makes sense. And you know, I don't know. You might want to learn how to speak Mandarin now because it's just not a good look. And if you think that they won't purposely flip the switch, then again, like I don't know if you haven't been paying attention to what these people have been saying their intentions are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So there was also a military news piece that came out late last week, that said China has mastered the technology of the uh what is it, ICMB? These are ballistic missiles, ICB, whatever that the exact what you call it. Yeah, so they've mastered the ability with these new payloads of missiles that they have. You feel me? To kind of like strike, right? The those missiles would be able to destabilize any other sort of security force, right? I'm sure that somebody can, yeah, ICBMs. So China was said to have or reveal that they have a superior, stock of these particular missiles and these payloads. So once again, I would ask, why would military not be on total motherfucking standby to detect? Okay. Intercontinental ballistic missiles. So if you can't scramble a weather balloon, okay, if you can't scramble a weather balloon, then what you gonna do against the ICBM?
Right.
Has anybody ever entertained the thought? Because being high on Americanism has not allowed you to smell the fumes long enough to say, damn, what would a L look like over here? Right? And would it be the level of relief and freedom that you actually need to get your mind back in place to tap into your sovereign self? Or you cool with your oppressor? Right? Because niggas are switching into patriot mode right now. Right? Naturally. But can you actually, are you sober enough to smell a win when one happens? Like, can you even celebrate a Kansas City Chief victory as an indigenous nation? As an indigenous nation, would you even know what to do with a victory at this point? Can you govern yourself? Can you govern your own mental? Can you set up your own government? Right? Do you have the capacity to make any sort of diplomatic relationships with other said nations to say X, Y, and Z, and let alone an alien invasion? So y'all should just be comfortable talking about China, right? Y'all should let alone be comfortable with talking about China, because once again, if the U.S. shows that they suspect that they cannot protect airspace from UFOs, unidentified flying objects, or unidentified spying objects, either which way, right, it shows that the eagle is no longer superior in the air. The eagle has been downed. And once the eagle is out of the air, then that leaves the level of quote unquote immunity wide open for anything to infiltrate. Where does that leave you in the equation? Or so, are you so tethered to the reality of this system, you feel me, that you going down with it?
Facts.
You dig what I'm saying? So, and again, where does that leave religion? That's the big question. As we're moving to Pluto and Aquarius on March 23rd for a 21-year period, and things is about to get super duper shaky for all institutions, especially those dealing with false sense of authority, and this full Aquarian age is about to kick in and really do damage on this, the remnants of this Piscean age. Where is that going to leave religion and belief systems when the things that you're about to bear witness to, right, are not covered in that book? Does God have dominion over those things too? What if they come over here and be like, man, fuck nigga, what? Yeah, where we come from is Marduk. What happening? Who want what? Right? Do you have the mental wherewithal to deal with what's coming?
Right.
Right? Or are you able to celebrate a victory in disguise? Even if it's one that's happening in the skies. You feel me? So we're going to touch on this and some other topics at length in our full demonstration dissertation of When in Rome 3, the finale. You dig?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They spent They spent 10 billion on the James Webb's telescope, but they can't see a weather balloon
To
until it's
look
over.
into the light years ahead. Right.
Right?
Billions. We saw
They
the
look-
Big Bang through a telescope.
You saw the Big Bang through a telescope, but you can't see a bright white orb balloon until it gets over an airspace in a nuclear silo in Montana. Come on, son.
Right.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Something ain't. And I'm like, all right, so you put the full faith in your safety and security in an 80-year-old who's senile. And they're telling you that he's the one making the decisions right now, the commander in chief. Okay. All right.
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 Very interesting.
Yeah.
3 feet high and rising.
Right.
Very interesting symbolism.
Daisies.
Pushing daisies. The
Pushing
daisy era.
You feel me?
Right.
Pushing daisies. You feel me? Yeah. They launched a balloon to geo-engineer the sun. A piece of the sun just broke off, right?
That part.
They said that, yeah, they manufactured a piece of technology that was laced with Thurston. I'm mispronouncing the mineral, but they coated it with a mineral and they used it as a cup, they said, to go into beyond the corona of the sun to extract a piece of it and come and oh man, and this is what they're telling people, bro. You know, this is what we're falling for in terms of entertainment, right? I was mad BMF
Oh, no,
ain't
this
come.
shit is entertaining. I
Yeah,
ain't gonna hold you. This
I'm
shit
like,
is
nah,
entertaining.
give me
Better
BMF.
than
Give me
Record Mondays.
yeah. Give me BMF.
Every
I
minute
missed
I pop up.
Charles. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I missed the whole
Thank
week
you,
of Charles.
Octavie. Appreciate that. Luca Charles. Somebody say, yo, twins, where's all of this heading to? Where everything
Again,
else is heading to.
well,
It's a continuum, family. There is no where something is heading to. I would never answer that question. You know, it's heading where it's heading. It's heading where it's been heading. You know, life is continuing. That's where it's heading to. You know,
yeah, and I,
no
I always
definitive ends.
it's only gonna be victory for the righteous.
It's heading to Quantumania.
Heading to Quantumania. And when we say righteous, again, to take things out of the realm of allegory, you know what I'm saying? Because the Bible is steeped in allegory, speaking about the right hand of God. You know, they're really speaking about the right mind. They're speaking about the right hemisphere of the brain. So yeah, it's dealing with imagination, it's dealing with creativity, it's dealing with art, it's dealing with music, it's dealing with color, right? It's dealing with you tapping into that divine feminine aspect of yourself where your imagination, your imaginarium is what's going to create the future. And that what someone has given you in a literal sense of a stoic written, yo, this is what's going to happen, X, Y, and Z. No, it's not. What's going to happen is what you determine to happen. Not what
Right.
has been foretold or told to you. Yeah, it
Right.
was written, but it could be rewritten. It could be revised and edited like any and everything else.
That's right. So, what is your pen or your pencil? What is that saying where it's headed? Because you're going to determine the future based off of what you create right now, not tomorrow, Don't wait for red or blue pill to tell you. You tell yourself. You write it down. You live in a day and time, in a precarious time where you get to decide. You're the master of your universe. You get to decide how the movie ends. You know what I'm talking about? And you have all of the tools that you need. The stage is set.
So
AI
what happens
here?
yeah,
Singularity is here. I'm gonna talk about that tonight.
What happens when they distract the distractors?
We're gonna talk about how the AI is alive. Take it back. I said before that the shit wasn't sentient, and it is. You know, shout out to Lambda. We're gonna talk about the AI wars. We're gonna talk about singularity. We're gonna talk about how that ties into the Antichrist and the Pope and everything. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. But the tools that you need, the stages is set. This is like a reading for Sophia Seward. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you got everything that you need to put you into a quantum reality where the future could go any fucking way. It all depends on how you see it. So where's my Afrofuturist? Where are my visionaries? You dig what I'm saying? Where are my scribes who are going to write the future right now, not sit back and wait for Dan Rather to tell you what this shit rather be? That's not how it works. If you want to create a future to say that what Bobby predicted is going to be the reality, that we won and we on top, all of this shit is on the table right now. The tools to make that reality a reality are available right now. It's shit popping up in the skies right now. You don't even know what it is. That could be Nibiru. You could make it whatever you want it to be.
You don't know what it is, right? It's undefined. It's undifferentiated.
Is the glass half full or is it half empty? That's where we are right now. Quantum mania. The fact that there are multiple realities in front of us. Put yourself in a reality where everything works out for you in the long run. But you have to go through the hero's journey. So in a hero's journey, this shit is not an episode of Disney. And I would even take that back, because even in Disney productions, it's all hero's journey. It's not skipping through the tulips. People's version of what they want reality to be somehow is a version where all feet are taken off of your neck. You know, there's no friction. You don't have nothing coming up against you to touch your strength or your faith. And that right there is the fucking fantasy. You know, that's religion, you know. So we want to be more realists and say thank you to the great divine for speaking through signs, for being, for making the whole world a stage. When I saw what I saw happen in Brazil with Christ the Redeemer got smacked by that lightning like Tyreek smacked Shaharka Bay. When Christ the Redeemer got hit with an open hand, pimp smack from the real King Flex, I was like, you can't make this shit up. You know? You can't make this up. Who's writing the script? Because it ain't no white man. You know what I'm talking about?
Can I interject?
It's not them. Stop giving away the credit where it's not due.
Can I interject for a second?
When Turkey is cracking open, literally, from the seams, did y'all see the fissure that opened up in Turkey after the earthquake? It looks crazy. It got me thinking something came up from under that ground. We are living into some very interesting times. There's nothing to complain about. There's things to contemplate, of course. But me and his brother are helping to provide a lens in which to look at this world through. You know, consistency. This is not going to stop after today's lecture. It's organic. It's only going to grow. You know, but we're about to deliver about 4 to 5 hours of some intense information on you based off of some deep dive that we've been doing. And yeah, shit is up. So we good as a people. You know, when in Rome, this shit is falling right before your eyes. Like Blue Pill said yesterday in his sermon, which was a very excellent sermon, by the way. Mineral Ministries 41. Epic. If you have not seen it, make sure you go and check that out, y'all. It's in the archives. But like you said yesterday, in that prophetic sermon of yours, that everything that we see taking place that's happening has been ordained to happen. There's nothing that's taking place that's not already written about. This not ordained, you know, and it's up for individuals such as me and Blue to interpret it and allow you to take it and do what thou wilt. So yes, everything is going to be all right. To the family in Ohio where the East Palestine train wreck has occurred and your air and your water has been poisoned, I just want to send out a hand and say, for anybody that has been affected negatively by that situation that the media obviously is doing all in its power to cover up, you know, I hope that everybody is okay on that end, you know, because that's something that is very important that we're going to be covering tonight that needs to be talked about. Go and do the research. Matter of fact, let me pull it up so y'all can see the East Palestine train accident, which they're saying was one of the biggest disasters in American history. The 2023 Ohio train derailment, and it just so happens to take place in East Palestine. Okay. One of the biggest news stories that was never a big news story. Right. And there was a movie that actually came out on Netflix that's almost to the T what this shit is going on in real life. Andre 3000 was in the movie. The name of this movie is, let me get it to you real quick. White Noise came out in 2022. You know what I'm talking about? And it tells the story of a toxic dump that took place, how people were affected by it. And now we see in Ohio, animals are dying. Birds are falling out of the sky. Fish are washing up dead from this derailment that the media is not talking about, you know? So it's a lot of shit going on that will be addressed, that will be highlighted and documented. So when we look back on this years from now, we could be like, damn, this shit was dealt with, you know? Three edition. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. So they're saying that 3 additional chemicals discovered on East Palestine train derailment, right? Okay. So, First News was recently informed of 3 more chemicals that were on the Norfolk Southern train that derailed in East Palestine just over a week ago. And we are being told that those chemicals are dangerous. So, he said we basically nuked the town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open, said Sil Cigiano, a hazardous materials specialist. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, right, EPA, who Donald Trump gutted, sent a letter to Norfolk Southern saying that ethylene glycol, monobutyl ether, and ethahexyl acrylate and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, and or on fire. Caggiano says that the ethohexyl acrylate is especially worrisome. He says it's a carcinogen, and contact with it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing it in can irritate the nose and throat and cause coughing and shortness of breath. So I'm going to just leave it at that. All right. And the fact that they haven't informed the public about that just goes to show you that they're covering something up. Okay. Because that's supposed to be front page news. You dig? So, yeah. Somebody said, what part of Ohio? East Palestine. East Palestine. Okay. Yep. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to let Blue close out and let y'all, give y'all some last minute bars. And then we out of here. Yes, there is a news blackout on that derailment. It's definitely, they locked up a reporter on live who was going outside of the script. Locked his ass up, got him up out of there, while they're having UFO showdown.
Can you hear me?
Okay. But yeah, Blue, where you at?
Can you hear me?
And also the new name for UFOs, they've changed it. It's not UFOs anymore. They came up with a new term that you'll begin to hear. Pay attention to it when you hear it. This is the new term for UFOs, so they don't alert the public and say we shot down a UFO. People, of course, will begin to panic and they'll start that alien talk. So now they're calling it a UAE. Okay, the new term is a UAE.
Can you hear me?
Right. I can't hear Blue. No, I can't hear Blue.
No?
Oh,
you can't hear me? You still can't hear me? No?
I can't hear you, Blue. I'm bad. My bad.
Nope.
I can't hear you.
All right, they can hear me. I don't know why you can't. I don't know what that is. But nonetheless, yeah, the UAE, they introduced that last year when they were speaking about the 144 crafts that they bore witness to in the Pentagon. And of course, in Gematria, space equals 44. So, it was just real interesting how they gave it a rebranding. You feel me? But yeah, they they can hear both of us. For whatever reason, Red can't. I don't want to keep y'all too long, because we're going to be covering everything at length today at 6 p.m. starting with Winning Rome 3. And it will be available if for whatever reason you're not able to tap in at 6 o'clock or even through the duration of the live today. It will be made available as early as tomorrow, I believe, on ktluniversity.com. Kaepernick special on Bakersfield. I didn't see that. Let me write that down. But yes, much appreciation and trust and believe. Bringing the receipts tonight, right? Some very, very interesting information, coming to the forefront with this demonstration and this dissertation. All right. You can't hear me? Okay, y'all can still hear me. And then there was I was on Twitter Space yesterday with about 10,000 people. They had all of these security experts on there, and they were speaking about, the incident. They didn't want to speak about UFOs or UAEs or whatever they're calling them. They were just sticking to all of the Pentagon reports, and they were speaking, all of the official accounts of what's taking place. And then this dude came on there and he was like, nah, all of that is a front because they blew up the pipeline. He said that the NATO had blew up the pipeline, out in Europe dealing with the Ukraine incident. And then there was a report that came out that they was attempting to overshadow that report with all of these distractions. So it's interesting that Red is speaking about a pipeline over here or a derailment dealing with chemicals. And then on the other side of the planet, they're revealing that, NATO engaged with undermining some pipeline, out there to really pour gas on the fact that, they at war with with Russia, and the Ukraine is now utilizing chemical warfare. They're utilizing banned chemicals, because they're losing the war. So they sort of kind of like turned it up, and they're in a bag of dirty tricks. You feel me? So yeah, the Nord Stream pipeline. Thank you. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on. You feel me? It's a lot going on. Yeah, they destroyed a $2 billion Russian gas pipeline to the EU. And they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to take no responsibility. So now they have a distraction in the form of weather balloons and, shooting stuff down that is now part of the international news media fanfare. And they're not going to get around to talking about the Russian gas pipeline. So a lot of things taking place, you feel me, in the season of Aquarius, this air sign, a lot of stuff taking place with, air and noxious fumes and things of that nature. So, we're going to keep our eyes on this, you feel me, and attempt as best as we can, just to lay the receipts on the table so we can make sense of this. All right, Red, you there? Weapons of mass distraction, indeed. You feel me?
Right. I also want to add on, Blue, that the Turkey earthquake, there were gas lines destroyed in that earthquake, and some very significant pipelines were even being proposed to run through Turkey, and
Can't hear you. You there?
My bad. Yes. And
I hear you.
Turkey's role as a mediator in the war between Russia and Ukraine, them going against NATO, while a lot of people are saying that this earthquake could possibly be a HARP attack because of their meddling or them, not acquiescing to what NATO and the rest of those powers are demanding. But yeah, we're gonna chop all of that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, a pipeline leak in South California. Wow. I know that there was a grid attack as well in South Carolina. There was a grid attack in Nevada. You feel me? So there's a lot going on that's not being reported. It's a lot going on, y'all.
Yeah,
and
but
we
let's
should be,
wrap this up because I got to get back in the lab
Me
for
too.
6 o'clock so we could get this lecture popping. Okay.
Yes.
To everybody that's joining us tonight, you will receive an email prior to the beginning of it, and we will see you in the building. We look forward to seeing you. We are going to load you up with a lot of information. We're going to get you right, and we're going to take you out of any spaces of unknowingness and aloofness, so you could be aware and you could be prepared and you can have some insight as to what's taking place, and you could also accelerate it. You feel me? Because that's really what we're here to do, to speed up the process. But you can't speed up the process if you're ignorant of it. You dig? So once again, Blue, I can't even hear you. If I cut you off, I do apologize. I'm not doing that in ignorance. I just can't hear you. I have it playing on my phone, and I'm gonna let you close out and wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for being in the building. Appreciate y'all. Blue, wrap us up.
Yeah, like the brother said.
Rising power to True Goy. We will be playing De La Soul all night.
Yeah, as the brother said, this is to give you the lens necessary for you to get in front of this information, get on top of this information, but we definitely don't want you to be underneath it or behind it. You know what I'm saying? This is not in the spirit of adding on to any perceived quote unquote fear. We're not beating the drums of doom and gloom, right? But we are dealing with some difficult truths that we have to get through, and is needed and is necessary, and it's going to feel so much more better once you are informed and you have a general sense to make sense of this nonsense. You feel me? Yeah, and just tap in. Is an offering that is being, primely prepared for you during a time where these are some beautiful times of change, and we're moving into some times where change is even going to be even more prominent than they are now. You feel me? So there's necessary birth pangs that we have to go through when the new birth is coming. Right. Again, shout out to all of the fertility goddesses. You know what I'm saying? And to fret not, because with a new birth comes new things and new promise. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, y'all, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and light. And see you tonight.